Okay, get right in here. We're trying to get hold of Ben Fulford. All circuits are busy on both his landline and his cell phone, so quite clearly Japan is reflecting the severity of the crisis nationwide over there, and the circuits are indeed busy. Just sent an email to Ben to ask him to phone into the network studios as soon as possible, so hopefully he'll be able to do that in just a couple of minutes. What we're going to do is go ahead and roll the great Jim Mars on last Thursday. Enjoy that. As soon as Ben calls in, we'll step in and bring you Ben Fulford in hopefully just a couple of minutes. But in the meantime, enjoy the ever-amazing Jim Mars from last Thursday night, and we'll probably be right back with you in just a couple minutes. This money belongs to Libya. All right, we're back. Glad you're along. Thank you, Jim, for that. We'll rerun Jim maybe this Sunday night so you can hear the whole thing. We do have Ben on. He was able to call in. We were not able to get in touch with him, as I mentioned just a couple of minutes ago. Hello, Benny. How are you?
Fine.
Can't say hello in Japanese yet.
Oh, well, there's not exactly hello. There's either good day or good evening or good morning, but anyway. Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. Yeah, all right.
Hello, good day, yeah.
I got it. All right. So the phones are busy, in and out, all over the place there. Not a surprise. Ben, I'm just going to leave it to you. Go ahead and give us your synopsis,
all right, look,
if you would.
Let me tell you, okay, there's a lot of stuff that's been, I'm not going to say anything about what happened with this. I'm going to just tell you some things that I have heard and the sources for this information, okay?
Sure. Sure.
First of all, we were able to obtain a recording of a conversation between Japanese power broker Ichiro Ozawa, U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Kurt Campbell, okay? And he said he was sent as a representative of J. Rockefeller.
Right.
Now, J. Rockefeller is a part of the Rockefeller family that controls GE. And GE are the people who built the reactors that we're having troubles with now.
We have 23 of them over. Yes, we have 23 of them over here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this took place on March 9th, 2 days before the earthquake, right? And what Campbell said was, first of all, he said to Ozawa, if you do not, he was threatening to split up the ruling party, the Democratic Party, and take and cause them to lose power. And as a result, he was being prosecuted on trumped-up charges by some prosecutors who work for, the American interests, which I equate with the Rockefeller and those guys, Bush and those guys. And what Campbell said is, we'll drop all the charges against you, plus we'll give you access to giant zeolite deposits in Fukushima Prefecture if you do not split up the Democratic Party. Okay, zeolite, as you know, is a substance that's very, very useful for cleaning up radioactive waste. This conversation took place on March 9th, and we have a recording of it. Okay, so I'd like Mr. Campbell, Deputy Foreign Minister, and I'd like Mr. Ozawa, and I'd like J. Rockefeller to comment on this publicly, if they wish to refute me.
Yeah, I'd like to. Let's get that thing posted online and put a challenge out there. That's a very interesting phone call.
He's going to go to jail. J. Rockefeller is going to go to jail for the rest of his life unless he stops immediately. Now, the other thing I want to point out is that a young lady by the name of Sakura Ito insisted on meeting me on March 10th. Okay, she is the daughter of the former number 2 leader, Takumi, of the Yamaguchi Yakuza gang, okay? And she said she took me she met me and she said she was told to set my phone alarm on my mobile phone to ring at 11 a.m. on March 11th. That was the day of the earthquake. And she was sent by people working for J. Rockefeller, okay? So these are things I'd like to talk about because this is not just something, random. The other thing that I can say for sure, and any journalist out there can go and call the governor of Fukushima and ask for himself. He told me that they overruled his strong objections and put plutonium in reactor number 3 4 months before the earthquake and tsunami.
Right. I think it
And,
was
and
last...
the technicians and everyone said, what are you doing that for? This is dangerous. Why are you doing this? And they overruled them.
Yeah, I think that was last September of 2010 that the green light was given for the MOX fuel to be used. It's high charge like a thoroughbred. It's a racehorse, very hot, and they're only in 3 reactors in Japan so far after it was given the green light about 2 years ago. So yes, understood. I'd like to. You don't have the ability to play that recording into the phone, do you, by any chance?
No, I can't do that right now, but let's get that out there. And because, we need to get these criminals. Okay, and there's another bit of news, which is not related to Japan, but we have another explosive global scoop for you, Mr. Rense. An ANZUS agent, that's the Australia Secret Police spy people.
Right.
Who goes by the code name Koala. I have his real name, but obviously I'm not going to put that out because, his ass is on the line.
Got it.
His career and maybe his life. But anyway, they hacked into emails in between the foreign minister and the defense minister of Australia. Okay? And these emails say that the Federal Reserve Board has ordered that Prime Minister Kevin Rudd of Australia be fired and removed from power. And he was subsequently removed from power. And this is going public. This is a WikiLeaks thing. This is going to be all over the BBC, everywhere. They're not going to cover this up. So we have to ask ourselves, why does the Federal Reserve Board have the power to remove the Prime Minister of Australia?
Right.
Well, and these are the same people who have been attacking Japan, and I can swear to this in the court of law, they've been murdering prime ministers of Japan to impose their rule. Okay, so we're dealing with the world's most vicious gangsters operating at the very highest levels of power in the Western world. They control most of the G7 governments, and they're unelected, and most of the people don't even know about them. Okay? Well, now they do. Now you've got even Fox TV talking about the Federal Reserve Board as being a great scam at last. And the other thing is, okay, let's see, was this earthquake and tsunami and nuclear disaster an accident? There's one more thing we found out, and I'm saying this in advance in order to prevent this from happening, okay?
Right.
Scientists in Japan are telling us that the water underneath Mount Fuji is getting very hot. And the University of Tokyo is detecting unusual anomalous electronic waves, electronic beams being beamed towards Mount Fuji from U.S. HAARP facilities right now, okay? And these same anomalous electronic waves were detected in the weeks prior to the earthquake and tsunami offshore from Japan. And what I've heard from my sources, the threats they're saying is that Jay Rockefeller, he wants to terrorize the Japanese people even more into submission, and that means they're going to try to cause Mount Fuji to erupt probably on April 11th, 411. You know 311, 411? Well, Mr. Rockefeller, you better not do that, because you and your entire family have absolutely nowhere on this planet or off this planet to hide anymore. The whole world knows about you now. They know that you're mass murdering crooks, and they know that you're beasts, and you're not going to go anywhere on this planet. Your only choice is to surrender before a Truth and Reconciliation Committee. You have no other choice. And if you don't do that, it's going to be too late, because it's going to be out of our hands, and you're going to jail for the rest of your miserable life. You got that, Mr. Rockefeller, Jay Rockefeller? We know you, and we know who works for you in Japan, and they're all going to jail. I'm sorry I get this angry tone, but these people are really, really dangerous and nasty, and they don't think like normal human beings.
Well, Dan, it's perfectly understandable when you look at the catastrophe that has been visited upon this country. By whom is irrelevant in a way, because we've got it now, and we're dealing with something that is not over. TEPCO is as corrupt as it gets. The head of TEPCO, as you listeners mostly know now, checked himself into a hospital to hide. High blood pressure, he said. They're out
there. Yeah, they always do that to avoid arrest.
Yeah, exactly. They have made no progress.
In the U.S. He has a heart attack anytime people are getting close to him.
That's right. They admittedly made no progress in dealing with the situation at Fukushima the plant number 1. None.
The other thing I want to point out is that there are agents provocateurs here actively spreading disinformation. There was some guy going around with a fake Geiger calendar saying he's from Chernobyl, showing off-the-chart readings. Saying it's panic, everybody get out of here.
Yeah.
The other thing I do want to say is, yes, most of the U.S. military have been withdrawn from Japan,
Yeah, did you see, excuse me, Ben, hold on. Is this accurate? My story today that I ran said that up to 200,000 American military and their dependents are going to be withdrawn from Japan to the West Coast. That's a lot of people.
Well, yeah, that's because the Japanese Defense Agency knows that it was American military forces behind this attack on Japan. They've been told they're no longer welcome here. And
nobody knew that many
also,
Americans were over there. That's a shock. And that's not the full contingent either.
No, and most of the bankers who are here as carpetbaggers, that is the ones who weren't actually doing constructive work but were here to loot and rob, they've all left. They hightailed it out of here because we told them to leave by March 19th, and they left.
Interesting.
And if you want to know who we are, I will give more details about our group because we're getting close to the finish now. There is an international group that has people at very high levels in China, in the U.S. military, at the BIS, in Europe, worldwide, who say we're sick and tired of this group of unelected bankers trying to control human destiny towards some crazy, fake end-time scenario. And by the way, we now have direct proof. This Kurt Campbell, the Assistant Secretary of the Foreign Minister, told Ozawa during that conversation that we're ending the Mayan end times. Okay? Ozawa is a Unitarian, and I think he's a bit gullible, and he's basically admitting, we have this fake end time scenario we're carrying out. But he didn't say it's fake. He's trying to say it's real and it's out of our hands,
right?
Which is total nonsense. The world is not coming to an end. What's coming to an end is the Federal Reserve rule of the world.
Well, let's hope so.
That's the thing, but they're being exposed everywhere. The other thing is that we've been contacted by people connected to Colonel Gaddafi in Libya. And they make it very clear, they're one of the only countries in the world that does not have a Rothschild-controlled central bank. It goes through the Gaddafi family, and that's a whole issue I don't want to get into, whether or not it should go through them, but it does. And they have $180 billion, which they say they're willing to donate to ending poverty and all sorts of good things as long as you get these people to stop attacking them. And they're saying this is just about stealing their oil and stealing their money. It has nothing to do with rebels. It has nothing to do with democracy. It has nothing to do with him being a tyrant. It has everything to do with the fact that the U.S. military is running out of money. And the reason they're running out of money and the reason the Fed is running out of money is that at the very highest levels of the global financial system, a group of people has cut them off. They're no longer able to access their trillions and their quadrillions that they think they have. We have the book of codes now in our hands that lets us activate that money. And we're not going to activate it until these people are removed from power because they want to kill billions of people. And already President Obama and General Myers and 4 other generals approached us, and they're saying they want to work with us. We also have Hillary Clinton, approaching us saying, well, she wants to take over the job of controlling the distribution of this money. It's all coming to a head, but you see, the point is that they don't have the codes. They're being frozen out of the financial system, and that's why all this crazy stuff is going on. They're having a G20 meeting right now, as we speak, in China with finance ministers, and they might try to announce a new world currency controlled by the IMF, but that announcement is going to fail